You're at home.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah,
Yeah, I am at home because remember I have COVID.
I know, but you're at home. Or you have a vaccine.
Hmm?
Oh, your kids. That's right.
We are live.
Oh yeah.
All right, everyone. 5:30. Good evening. Happy New Year to everyone, 2024. Just to say that this is the City of Sugar Land Parks Board meeting. It's 5:30 on January 9th, 2024, and I'm calling this Sugar Land Parks Board meeting to order. Please note that this is a meeting open to the public and is recorded as per the Texas Open Meeting Act, which is available to the public. So with that, we'll just jump right on. Andy, can you hear? Okay, thank you. All right, first item I have on here is, are there any public speakers? No, okay, thank you. That said, we'll go straight into the workshop. First item on the workshop is review of and discussion on the associated studies and project update for the 65-acre parkland. Finland will be providing the presentation.
Thank you, Hong.
Thank you very much.
Should I stand now or sit?
Your call.
Right, keep that or?
If you would like to, it's up to you.
Okay, I'll just. So, Happy New Year again. So in the November PARCS board meeting, we had a really good discussion on the senior center study. The BRW is our consultant who presented the senior center future site location analysis and recommendation. Thank you all for approving the location. There were also a lot of questions and discussions on the 65-acre property in general. So today I'm really happy to take this opportunity to review all the previous studies and the projects we have done on the parkland so far. And then, we can kind of have more in-depth discussion about what your thoughts are and feedback. We are still moving on with the different projects. So whatever the input you gave us, we're just going to incorporate and as we move forward. So the 65-acre parkland, it has a very long history. Back in 2003, the Telfair general plan, the city approved the Telfair general plan, and also the city entered a development agreement with the developer, so that the city is allowed to acquire additional land from this area for the regional park. In 2005, this property was identified in the Parks Recreation and the Open Space Master Plan to address the increasing parkland needs in the growing west area of Sugar Land. And then in 2006, the cemetery and the 100-foot buffer, which is this area, this is the cemetery, and then this is the buffer. It was deeded to the city from lead 17 in order for the city to better protect and preserve this area. And then in 2012, the city purchased the remaining of the site, including the 15 acres of parkland dedication. With that, the city also started working on a PR, a preliminary engineering report with a consultant help. And then we proposed this project as one of the Parks Fund projects in 2013. However, this proposition was not approved. And then we just kept maintaining this parkland. And then in 2018, the property was identified again as one of the high priorities for the community to meet the community park needs. You all remember, some of you were in those Parks Master Plan workshops. So that's the quick history. And then I found this very interesting. Some of the Google Maps in 2003, you can see the Telfair area. The roads are not there. I turned on that layer just because it's easier for us to look at the scale and the location. It was basically a farmland and open space in 2003. And then 10 years later, pretty much all the residential development was completed. And then by 2023, we see the restaurants, HEB, and also the Huadanai the Least Technology Center also completed. So we have this donut, the donut hall in the center, which is pretty much one of the last puzzles of this area. It really has a great potential and advantage for us to think about what the community really needs and then provide the amenities that really fit best and also help increase the land value for the surrounding areas. So back in 2013, in order to have a really good vision and we are for the master plan for this 65-acre parkland, the city hired Clark Condon to do a very extensive preliminary engineering report, and also in order to prepare for 2013 bond election. The team has done really good site analysis, including site survey, geotechnical report, traffic impacts analysis with floodplain study, as well as the acoustical study because of all the sports fields. And then also the city has had a very good public engagement process with not only general public, but also tax board, Fair HOA, local sports groups, and the multicultural community. I mean, at that time, there was a multicultural community. Just a quick view, the PR is very thick. I'm just kind of picking out a few pages. Can we just minimize this window a little bit so that everyone can see? May I just close the slide? So, okay, is that better?
Yeah.
Okay,
Much better.
Okay, so based on all the public engagement in the study and the site analysis, the consultant proposed a list of programming, including multi-purpose sports fields, and also playgrounds, splash pad, pavilion, library, community park building, bocce ball court, restrooms, and landscape and irrigation. And then just for references, this gray area is the cemetery else. We did it. It was needed to the city in 2006. So that's well. So you can see the plan was also trying to preserve the cemetery. This is a bird's eye view, looking to the playground, the pavilion, multiple field, the open play, lawn area, and tennis center. And then here is the cemetery, kind of outside the picture. And then this is kind of, this is the view from the corner, this Eastern Avenue, China Avenue, and then the Huadanai side is on the right side corner. So this is looking to the cricket field, open lawn, and then multi-purpose fields. Again, perspective to the pavilion and the playground. Cricket field at that time, you could tell the cricket field was very popular. And then more perspectives and the tennis court and tennis center. So certainly this plan is already more than 10 years old. So moving forward, we need to, when the funding is available, we need to redo, update the PR. We certainly need to do another round of public engagement, also the site analysis, because the FEMA requirements are changed, and also the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, also has different requirements from their end. So this plan definitely needs to be redone, but the previous studies could be still helpful as we move forward. So that is kind of a quick recap of the 2013 PR. Now we we talk about the 65-acre parkland. It's another thing that we need to talk about the Old Imperial Farm Cemetery project. Back in 2012, we did some design studies in-house, and I actually presented a conceptual design for the site improvements to you in 2022. So basically, we proposed to provide the vehicular access from Eastern Avenue, some parking spaces and sidewalk around it, decomposed granite plaza around the Orange Hill Cemetery. And also we would like to provide interpretive signage, public art, landscape, and also connection to the larger park and hopefully connect with the Fort Dynasty shooting 95. So that was the conceptual design. And then this project that we did some in-house cost estimate is probably going to be a $2 million project. So we really don't have that much of funding. So we divided to several phases. So the first phase is really just to try to restore the cemetery, which is the yellow area. That's the original cemetery. So we actually, in the last several months, we made some significant progress on the cemetery restoration. Before I get more into on the cemetery work, I just want to show you a few pictures of the cemetery before the restoration. Certainly the plan, our plan, the whole set design and improvement is really to create a space where people can come and remember and honor the history of the very important piece of Sugarland history. When we talk about the restoration, the first step is to ask the cemetery preservation specialist to do a very detailed assessment to each gravestone, the condition, what needs to be done to repair it and clean it, and how much that costs. So that kind of went through a certain time. We will have to work with the specialist, and then because no matter how well we repair and clean the gravestones, eventually they will deteriorate because it was made by the concrete and with very poor steel reinforcement in the old time, and so the condition wasn't really good. So we decided to provide a permanent black granite pillow marker for each barrier on the site. In order to do that, we really had to do a lot of research to verify the 1994 archaeology survey that shows who was buried there and what is unknown. In addition to that, we had to double check with the convict records of the Texas State prisons. Here I want to give a big shout to Kimberly because she really, spent a lot of time and effort doing all the research, searching all the handwritten records that I have no way to recognize. So we were able to double check each prison number, name, birth year, and death year. That also took a big chunk of our time in order to finish and to verify with the contractor once, twice, 3 times, and 4 times. So in the last October, we finally were able to get this piece of this restoration work done. These are some of the working photos. The first one shows how they carefully excavate the basis of the gravestone, and also trying to align them. Some of them they are slightly kind of off. It's very likely that they were planned to be aligned. It was just shifted and because of the time. So by the way, this cemetery preservation specialists were probably one of the 2 companies in the whole Texas. So they really have done that a lot. They did a lot of cemetery in Texas. So this is how they were kind of the excavation and the alignment. This one is to show how they have a keen eyes to look at each broken pieces and know how to put them together, and then glue them and clean them. And then this is the pillow marker I was talking about. Also, William kind of helped us to get a local contractor to repaint the white cross in the center, and then power wash the brick base of the cross. So after all the work is done, there's going to really look a lot better. And then these are some of the few pictures showing what they look like right now. We also took this opportunity to hire an archaeology consultant to do some desktop archaeology study just for this site improvement area, just because we have, we want to prepare for the next steps. Based on their study, and also there was a in-depth survey, archaeology survey done in 2018. Based on the results, they concluded that there are no concerns of the archaeological sites in this site improvement area, so that's good news. Next, we will need to do the fence repair, fence and the gate repair. So this is kind of an original look. Some of the previous photos we found, and this is what they look right now. So I'm trying to get a contractor to help us to repair to the original look as much as we can. And then after that, we want to work on like interpretive signage to record the restoration effort, as well as some of the explanations on some of the unknown pillar markers, because for some of the units that were buried here, we know they were here, but we don't know which stone is exact depth. So right now they have an unknown on their pillar marker when we explain and who are possibly buried here. And then certainly we need to do the site survey and the geotechnical report to move forward on the construction, the design development of the project. Now, since this is the part of the whole 65-acre parkland, so ideally, the survey, geotechnical report, design can be all done together with the 65-acre park, so that we could, look at the whole site holistically, and then probably will save some money. But that depends on how much funding we can get. Now I'm going to move on. I mean, many of you already remember from the last meeting, we have been working with BRW on the senior center study project. Originally we staff did some internal study looking at the properties that the city owns, and then look at how big they are, and recommended 4 potential sites to BRW to look further into. So that's why they presented their analysis on the 4 potential sites last time, and then provided a very in-depth report. They recommended the 65-acre site to be the preferred site, and you all approved the site, the recommendation of the November tax board meeting. This site is owned by the city property, so we don't have to purchase additional land or do the land acquisition. We also don't need to worry about meeting the requirements from another landowner. This area is also relatively in a central location close to 90A and the University Boulevard. It's easily accessible from different areas of the town, the city, and they also have plenty of space for flexibility, any design potentials, and also future expansion. The architecture can be an anchor for the 65-acre community park, and could be an iconic architecture piece that the community is proud of. And certainly it can create a strong synergy between the indoor amenities, recreation, indoor amenities, and also outdoor amenities that the community park can provide. This is the kind of a site testing map, site testing site plan BRW provided. It shows how you can easily include this 25,000 square foot senior center, ample parking, pickleball courts, potential swimming pool, and how that can really connect with the adjacency with trail system in the park. I want to add that this is not a building concept design. Moving forward, we will work with BRW to look into the building design And then we will come back, and the report, design options and all that. So this is just a set testing. Now we have kind of looked at the 2013 study, the cemetery study, the senior center design. I just put all the three together just so that you can take a look at the whole picture. Certainly, if you look at all together, there are design and the planning tweaks need to be done. So we do need to update the 2013 PR moving forward. I mean, I mentioned earlier, we definitely need more public engagement and the programming. Definitely additional archaeology study needs to be done. And then we need to look at other site analysis, including draft planning, FAA requirements, traffic impact analysis. And this is going to be a huge project. So we are going to look into the funding resolution and also develop a phasing plan that is divided to phases that could be achievable. Currently, we're trying, where the city is aiming for a 2024 bond election. So we, Park and Rec, are trying to propose this project for the PARCS bond. And but we don't know. This is kind of where we are in terms of the 65-acre parkland. And then that's all I have. And then if you have any questions, thoughts, and feedback, ideas, we can talk about it as a group.
So it may be down where Andy's image is down there, but where was the original parking for the site before the senior center got moved onto it? So in other words, you have all these fields and tennis courts and all of that, but where was the parking for those things?
Well, yeah, there was originally some parking here, and then parking at the corner at north, and then also parking here. So there are three parking lots.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
Overlay with the senior center. I think the BRW just extended that parking spaces for not only the park, but also the senior center, and then have building here.
Okay, so senior center is gonna have to share some parking with all the fields.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Sharing parking is definitely going to save resources because a lot of times the seniors come in the daytime, and then in the evenings, probably the families, kids come to play sports. And also the parking will be able to share for the cemetery visitors too. So yeah, sharing parking is the idea.
And then what is lost with the senior center being placed there? What was that area before, like an open field?
Yeah, it was an open field. So
Okay.
basically, this is basically just parking and this open field. We're going to have to reduce the open field. And then
So is that cricket, lacrosse, bocce? What was supposed to be happening in that space?
this one, I think this one is probably just kind of an entry area with, this is probably either a shade structure, just or entry kind of a monument type of thing here. And then this side is the open field, and this side is the cricket field. So the BRW just try to utilize this shape, this area to pack in the senior center.
So just to confirm that for everyone, this is very preliminary. They just left all the plans together.
Right.
And I'm sure with the new PER updates and TIAs and everything else, they'll mold everything into a better rendering for us to review.
That's correct.
Okay. No, I was just curious so the cricket, I imagine cricket fields have to be a certain size. Does that mean that with the bottom end of that rectangle, the cricket field's gonna be destroyed, or that's gonna be?
Right now, for BRW's plan, when they put the senior center in, we just try to utilize any open space. They did not destroy this original plan of cricket field.
Okay.
Again, I would take this as a collage, like just place them together.
Right.
But that needs more design thinking and planning. right now it's just kind of, whatever we have right now, paste them together. Doesn't, there needs to be more design and thinking put into that, into this plan.
Maybe that cricket field will go away. I don't know.
I mean, I
Cricket
can
people
imagine when we go back to the public for more public engagement.
Yeah.
And people who want more people report. I know for the county has already built some cricket fields in the last 10 years and maybe there's this community. I mean, we already also have the multi-use sports field with cricket fields, possibilities. So we could, the community might be okay not to have an extra cricket field.
Do you have a bigger version of this? Up further with the actual, other developments that's already in place?
I don't, but I can,
Just curious on how the actual perspective
mhm.
on the commercial, how close it is to. Oh, go back to the other one,
Because we couldn't see that.
yeah, right there. Is that that's the boundary that's the rendering's drawn to, correct?
Yeah, that's the boundary the remedy is from there.
Okay. And that's right side of it's all open ISD.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Yeah, and then this side is all residential.
okay,
And then this is residential, however, with some open space buffer.
okay. So what I'm seeing is that the park rendering has been maximized of all the space.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
And, I'm sorry, is the runway protection zone,
Mhm.
is that, the current space for it? Or you said that the FAA had amended it or something, or?
Right now, we are protecting this zone. We did have a meeting with the airport a few months ago, and then the FAA requirements do have some more restrict requirements. However, it's more of a height restriction. For example, it's more complicated than just a simple diagram. I mean, for example, in some area, you cannot have objects that's more than 50 feet. In some area, you cannot have objects more than 40 feet. So that will be something that when we work with consultant after the IPR, we will make sure when we locate the objects, we need to make sure it does not, violate the height requirements from FAA. Well, overall, we think we're good. It's like that's the kind of reason this is a park, because you cannot put a hotel or you don't want to put a tall building either, but as a park, it kind of, it would be a better use compared to these other land uses.
You said earlier that the Old Imperial Cemetery restoration project would cost about $2 million. The part that you prioritized first with the restoration of the headstones, the hill markers, all of that. What is the projected next steps in terms of cost and maybe timeline for repairing the fence? And then what else would you do next after that?
Yeah, so for the first, all this restoration I have just talked about, it cost about $60,000. And that funding comes from, Sugar and 4B. The Sugar and 4B did give, kind of funded us about $150,000. So potentially we have about $90,000 to do, the remaining repair. Regarding the fence and gate repair, I'm trying to work with a contractor to get a quote. He has not get back to me. This is kind of some kind of a special work that you cannot just find any contractor to do it. The people will have to have some special experience and the background to do it. And then that's why I listed. I mean, since we don't know how much it will cost, we kind of have to take step by step. Like, fence needs to be repaired, otherwise they're going to go down very quickly. And then after that, we have funding left. It will be good to do a interpretive signage just to kind of reflect this piece of history, because we are honoring the history, but we're also making history. So this process of restoration, and also important to recognize some of the people we know their names, they are probably buried here, we just don't know which gravestone they exactly have, then it will be a place to recognize them. And then after that, we probably only have money to do some survey and geotechnical report, which could be useful for the future design. But at the same time, as I mentioned earlier, if we are able to get 65-acre parkland funded, if from fund election, then it's actually better to do all the survey and geotechnical report and archaeology study all together. And then do the conceptual design all together. So
Any other questions, comments? No? Thank you so much. Very informative. Appreciate the information and the update. Okay, so moving on to the second item, we have the review of and discussion on the selection process of a soccer recognized youth sport association for Eldridge Park. So Kimberly, Assistant Director for Parks and Rec, will be presenting.
Howdy, good evening. I'd like to first recognize Heather Blue Jacket, our recreation manager, and Ryan Gilmore, our recreation supervisor. They are working with me on this project, so I want to make sure that they were here as well in case they had any questions that they could answer for you. So as the Parks Department, we always need to make sure that our parks are achieving the highest and best use for our citizens here in Sugar Land and our residents. Eldridge Park is what we're talking about tonight. It is primarily used as a soccer facility. The recognized youth sports association that is there and utilizing that facility is the Sugar Land Soccer Club. Since about 2021, there's been a gradual decrease in play and maintenance and resources at Eldridge Park. Of course, the drought didn't really help anything. This last year was brutal in all of our parks, but especially our sports fields. We've been approached by other soccer clubs, the Imperial Soccer, who manages the Lost Creek Park and Settlers Park currently, and some other soccer groups as well. Everybody's always vying for resources in our parks. And if you recall, we went through a similar process for Lost Creek Park in 2020, where we engaged y'all in that discussion as well, kind of look at, what's the best use of the park? Is the current group the best group? Are there other groups out there that could maybe manage it as well or better? So we went through a request for proposal process with this, and this is the process we went through in 2020 as well, where we solicit soccer clubs that have touched base with us before, that have contacted us, that have made requests. Also looking for other, is there another soccer group that hasn't contacted us, but might be a good soccer group to run this complex as well. So contacting them with this proposal saying, hey, we have this soccer club, are you interested in operating it? Are you interested in working with us and partnering with the city to operate this complex? The proposal itself, I just want to say up front there, it's not a money proposal. So in no way, shape, or form are we saying, hey, let us know how much you want to spend on this. Money is not a part of this, other than seeing the financials for the group or not. It's not a bid sort of in that manner where we're taking that competitive bidding. Instead, it outlines, there are several sections to it. And I'm just going to go through sort of section by section and kind of covering what those sections will ask for and what they'll highlight. And just mentioning that when we went through this last time, it was a good process, and we didn't really make any changes this time because we felt that what we were provided was significant and relevant to the conversation. So we outlined the requirements of the city. As the city, since it's our property, we have requirements that they have to meet in order to operate out there, and we state those up front. Like, here's our expectations, and we go through a scoring process like you would a competitive request for proposals. There's a scoring process, so each section is scored. At the end, we look at all the scores and we see where they fall out. And I'll go through a little bit of the process at the end. But so our scored sections are organization, operations, bylaws, financials, board members and employees. And then each section has pieces of that. Again, this identifies the organization that would be best qualified to meet the needs of the community. So here's just in detail what those components are. So organizational questions, what we're trying to understand from them is what is their goal and purpose? If they have a parent organization, what is that? Sports organizations, whether they're soccer or softball or baseball, fall under a parent organization. So Little League, of course, falls under Little League organization, and those organizations sort of state sort of the overarching kind of rules that they follow. So what is that parent organization that they follow? They need to tell us, they need to, what's their commitment to serve youth soccer in Sugar Land. We want to make sure that, again, that we're meeting the needs of the community, that they're not out there just to profit, right, for themselves. They've got to meet the needs of the community, and we need to see that in their proposal. Just basics like address of the organization, and then if there are any other fields or facilities that the organization utilizes. And sometimes if an organization utilizes multiple facilities, it could benefit us in tournaments or some of those things where if we have a broader, a lot of facilities, we can have higher or better tournaments sometimes. Operations questions, those questions include what number of teams they estimate. Again, this is our, the proposal for this facility. So we are asking them to kind of project, given these number of fields, given the season, what are your estimated number of teams, number of players, percent of Sugar Land residents. We found that the percentage of Sugar Land residents, not with Little League, but with our other organizations, is a lot based on sort of where in the city those facilities are located. We've worked with GIS and gotten maps sort of, to pinpoint, okay, where are these folks from? So, but we'd like them to estimate sort of what percent of Sugar Land residents do you think that you'll have? Annual cost per player for recreation and competitive, and that's just looking at, how much are you going to charge your folks for their uniforms and to participate, and then a proposed schedule. Other operations question, proposed number of games per week, number of practices, just really how are you going to utilize the fields? How are you going to upkeep the fields? Because our parks, we maintain our complexes at the same level that we would any other park. So we mow a certain number of times per year. We empty the trash, we clean the restrooms, we maintain the lights and the irrigation, all of that. But all of the striping and grooming, and if there's any additional field maintenance, we require the leagues to do that on their own. We operate just like a regular park, and then they provide those upgraded services. So we want to understand from them, what is their proposal for field upkeep? Do they have, with anything with your yard, with anything you have kind of a schedule? Oh, I fertilize at this time, I mow at this time, and we want to understand what that is from them. We have a concession stand at Eldridge Park that's newly renovated. And we want to hear, what are your plans for operating that concession stand? Right now, it's really not being operated at all. So, what are your plans? What are your plans for that? And then tournaments, how many and what size? The city gets really excited about tournaments. Sports tourism is a big deal right now. If we can draw tournaments from outside the city, so we've got teams from, we had a girls softball game with a team from Canada. So if we can get, folks in from all over, they're spending the night in their hotels, they're utilizing our services. So we get really excited when we have folks from the outside for tournaments. So we want to know what's your, do your ideas align with ours as far as tournaments and sports tourism? And so again, will other teams in the league, will they travel to Eldridge Park? Then sort of the straightforward things, bylaws. We want you to be an established organization. We want to understand what your bylaws are. We want to see your current financial reports of your organization. We want to make sure that you're legitimate. Are you okay? Will you be able to operate here? Will you be able to succeed? Current board members, we want to make sure that you have enough support from your board. And then if you've got any other compensated employee positions, some of our leagues, they hire grounds crews to facilitate their volunteer maintenance or to do their maintenance. So just letting us know what other folks do you have supporting your organization. So once we get, so it's quite lengthy. We wanted to make sure that we weren't doing this during the holiday season. So we'll be accepting proposals. We'll be sending our schedule is to send them out to the groups next Tuesday. So we'll send those out, and then we'll get them back, and then we'll be going through scoring. These will be reviewed by a panel so that, all of us are biased in some way, shape, or form, right? It's just we're humans, we're biased some way. So a panel helps us to have a more, a better overview It helps us score better and come up with a solution better. So we would love for 2 Parks Board members to be involved in this, and you don't have to commit right now. We'll send an email just so you can let us know who's interested. And then we have staff members as well. Last time we did this, we had park staff, but we also had other staff within the city organization. Just again, so we as parks don't want to be the majority on the panel because we don't want it to seem, or we don't want to sway this in any way. Because like I said, we're all, we have experience with some folks over other folks. We don't want to make sure that we're not swaying the opinion. The panel will familiarize themselves with the goals in the process, and you'll see the proposal. And so our general schedule is the organization has about a month to get these back to us. They're due the February 13th is our schedule. So we'll get the proposals, we'll send them out to everybody. There'll be the scoring sheet. Everybody will score them by number. It'll be very clear on how that's ranked. Those will come back to us, and then we'll take a look at that and we'll see kind of what the average is, how the numbers add up, to see how everybody ranks. Last time we did meet with a selection panel where we all met together, and we had the 2 finalists give a presentation to us. This is a tentative. It really depends. If there is a clear and obvious choice, then we may not need to go through that, or we may want to bring them in anyway, just to have a conversation with them, especially if it's a group that we're unfamiliar with. We'll bring them in. So that may or may not happen, that meeting of the selection panel. And then we'll make a recommendation if everything goes as it should. We'll make a recommendation to Parks Board in March. And then that Youth Sports Association will become the recognized group for Eldridge in the fall 2024 season. We want to make sure that if there is a change, which there may not necessarily be, if there is a change, that they have adequate time to make that change. I want to make it clear that the group that's out there now, Sugar Land Soccer, they will be part of this process as well. We're not excluding them. They will be competing with this along with everybody else. And I'm happy to take any questions.
If I may start on the questions, so if you could remind me, maybe the board as well, are there fees associated in terms of them using the field? And are they going to, other than doing additional maintenance work that the city of Sugar Land is going to be doing, is that going to be coupled as part of the proposal?
So currently, the city does not charge any fees for our youth sports associations for use of the fields. It's kind of like a partnership. So they provide this facility for our citizens, and we we don't.
Okay.
It's sort of a partnership that way. The city of Sugar Land is a little unique in how we operate that. Other parks departments, a lot of them will run the leagues and maintain the facilities themselves. So we do it a little bit differently. There's currently no fees.
But you were looking at, sorry. So you're looking at the actual extras and what they're providing as part of the proposal.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mhm.
Any other questions? Come on. Well, perfect then. I guess that's, there we
Okay,
go.
great. Just a clarity, I'm sure it's covered in the proposal itself, but I do remember the process last time. There was a real priority that the soccer league would offer recreational soccer and not just club sport.
Absolutely.
Or that it would be accessible to more of the general, just any kid who wants to play soccer, right? So
Yes.
it's not super elite or super competitive. So will that be a part of the selection process again?
Yes, absolutely. And I appreciate you bringing that up, because that was one of the main drivers of our conversation the last time, when we did this process for Lost Creek Park, is we were seeing a real increase in kind of the more of those competitive, like the elite sports, and less of a focus on recreation. And our, in Parks and Recreation, our focus is primarily recreation. Yes, we would love to have the tournaments and all of that, but we want to make sure that either there's a balance or, or recreation takes a higher priority to meet the needs of our community.
Any other questions, comments? Well, perfect. Thank you.
Great,
Thanks so
thank
much.
you.
I appreciate it. That was great. All right. So moving on, the director's report. Sir William Hodgick will be providing the director's report, Assistant Director of Parks and Rec.
Yeah, Jim. Good evening, y'all. I have a pleasure of recapping, telling the good news of what we've been working on, or some of the things we've been working on over the last month and a half. I will say that there's a director's report. I encourage you to read it. There's a lot more information in here. I'd be up here all day and I'm happy to talk, but I think we don't want the meeting to go too long, do we? But there's more in here, but I'll recap some of the really fun stuff that we've completed and or in the process of working on. And so first up, Poland Park Phase 2. I know that y'all have heard a lot about it, but I just wanted to announce that it is officially completed, substantial completion and final completion. And the artwork, entry monuments, Corten steel monuments finally came in. It was a part of a change order that was donated by the Mills Development family. And Conservancy, of course, funded all of Phase 2 with donations. And then sometimes donations just come directly as form of assets. So the contractor installed it, an entryway, which is really, I told Phone Lynn, like you have to go out there to see it to believe it. It's so pretty in person. So go out to Colonial Park. Along the entry road is some new heading parking. Just past that is the gateway, which you see here. And of course, further up the road is 40-something additional parking spots. And it was like 2.1 miles of trail. $200,000 of that was Texas Parks and Wildlife reimbursement back to the Conservancy so they can put it back into the park. So, as we know, City of Sugar Land maintains this park, but all the improvements are funded by donations through the Colonial Conservancy. So good job, Poland and team. Really was a host of people that helped with this, but Poland led the efforts and got it finally done. Expect a ribbon cutting, I'm thinking soon, like spring, maybe when the weather warms up a little bit. Ironically, the weather is dipping into the 20s very soon, like Monday night. So let's all be prepared for that. And we are certainly going to get parks prepared for that as well. Parks Development worked closely with Civic Arts, formerly Cultural Arts, to put 4 art benches in the parks. 2 oak leaf cluster benches are at Raspberry Park. 1 stainless steel bench is at Eldridge Park, which we all know is good for artwork. And it's good to have some art on the north side of town. And then this one is at Oyster Creek Park. You can see the fountain there in the background. There's another one right over here. You just can't see it. It's just off the picture, but Bluebells is this one right here. I like Bluebells. It's my favorite, but maybe that's because my dog is named Bluebell. I don't know. Or maybe it's because I eat a lot of Bluebell ice cream at the afternoon. So probably 1 too many bowls. But anyways, Bluebells is there. The other one is there. Go to Oyster Creek Park and check out this. Cultural Civic Arts definitely led the effort. Nicole and Shay and their team, but Phone Lynn and I helped with the placement. Phone Lynn did some design, like preliminary layouts to hone in on where it should be located. And then when they hit an electrical line, Jorge and his team figured out how to get the electrical line rerouted around this. So they did hit it. It didn't break no one got hurt. It didn't break it broke the conduit, but didn't break the wire, but we still had to get it fixed. So Jorge came to the rescue and got it done. So Bluebells is really awesome. Park rehab. Sometimes I give a whole PowerPoint on park rehab, and I'm happy to do that. But just some updates intermittently. Oyster Creek Park is closed right now. You may be wondering why, and it's because it's getting rehabilitated. So every once in a while, we choose a pavilion, a parking lot, a sidewalk, or a combination of those and rehab it. This is $34,000. It's getting all new doors, all new partitions, all new paint, and everything's just getting completely refreshed at Oyster Creek Park. It's also getting new flooring. So we chose epoxy flooring this time, heavy duty epoxy flooring. And so we're going to see how that works in a park setting. If it works, I think that might be our next go-to because paint just doesn't seem to last very long. So epoxy flooring, and that should be going down this week. And hopefully we'll open up Oyster Creek after the freeze. It was supposed to be before the freeze, but now we're going to delay it after the freeze because this restaurant really likes to freeze during freezes. So completely refreshed. As you can see, the new doors are getting painted, like all the CMU exterior, interior, it's all getting refreshed and repainted. And we're working with a contractor that facility uses, and we've really enjoyed working with them so far. So Jorge and park staff, maintenance staff, Matt, they've worked really hard over what was it? December-ish, somewhere in there for 2 weeks to Michelle, what was it, November? My months are running together.
Like
middle of November, finishing up after right before Thanksgiving. And they closed the dog park down for 2 weeks and did ryegrass seeding, cleaned out the pond, power washed, fixed irrigation, trimmed trees, refreshed the DG gravel trail. So we've made a habit of doing this over maybe the past 6 or 7 years, and it's really turned out really well. It gives time for the ryegrass seed to actually sprout and come up before it gets trampled right back down. So, the Jorge and the guys did a really good job this year, and the park just looks phenomenal, and the pond looks awesome. And there's one of the park maintenance guys back there doing something, fixing something. So the senior holiday gala, the senior center staff put this on. Heather and her team led this. This was in December. I think it was like middle of December. And it was 3-course meal and a ball in the ballroom at the Marriott, and then dancing and etc. So I attended it. Kimberly was there. Most of us in this room were there, and it was just a lot of fun. I'm not sure how many people were in attendance. Heather, can you remind me? A lot, 550. Thank you.
William dance,
I did dance a little bit. No, it's not pretty enough to demonstrate.
You do have it on video. I got William on the dance floor.
So, yeah, I think Ryan got a kick out of seeing it again. So anyways, a lot of fun, 550 people in attendance. Thanks, Joan. And
You're welcome.
It's your report.
I attended, it was a lot of fun. And the Christmas tree lighting, that seemed like a long time ago, but it wasn't. That was the beginning of December. It was a lot of fun. We didn't meet in December, so recapping it now, but it was like the first weekend of December or Friday night, and we were all in attendance. A lot of y'all were there. It was a lot of fun. A lot of people were there. And it was just fun. The mayor lighting up the tree, and it was a little bit of rain. And then once the rain was over, people just flooded to it. The weather was really nice once the rain let up. So it didn't rain that hard. So some dry fireworks or whatever the name of it was called, Kimberly, I'm not sure.
Sparks.
Sparks. And a lot of entertainment, music, and it was just a good time to be had to kind of kick off the holidays. Culture on Scala, a lot of y'all were there. Wonder who that is? Joan and her coworker. A lot of us.
Joan and Joan.
Joan and Joan, that's right. Joan and Joan were there. That was awesome, and we all had a good meal and got to see some good artwork. And got to hear about civic arts and their plans for the future. So that was a lot of fun. As y'all know, you are the Cultural Arts Board, and Parks is happy to host a lot of the artwork and kind of help with those efforts. Champion Employees, our awards banquet was middle of December for all of City of Sugar Land. Parks did pretty well again. 2 of our Parks maintenance staff, Lorenzo and Tony, won Champion Employee Awards for their outstanding service to the Parks Department and the citizens. Liz got Part-Time Employee of the Year. She works in the special events staff with Brianna and Kimberly. And then I won Assistant Director of the Year award.
Yay.
So we did really well.
He just glosses over that.
Myself, but I'm probably wondering why I was up there. So Michelle recognized us on social media, and just it was good to see Parks kind of staff and the excellence that we do kind of get awarded by the city manager and the mayor and give some awards out. So it was a lot of fun. I have a few more things before I get into questions. Let's see, Sugar Gala is coming up February 17th. Expected attendance is 200. Daddy daughter dance. And so if you want to attend, IPRC staff is how you sign up for that. I will probably be taking my 2 daughters to that. And then if you look towards the back, there's too many to list, but the special event staff works kind of cleaned up at the Texas Festival and Events Association.
Yeah, we did.
There's too many for me to list, but gold, silver, bronze, gold, silver, bronze.
Yep.
So it's on towards the back, and they really cleaned house on that event. So congrats to Kimberly, Brianna, and her team. No wonder Liz won Part-Time Employee of the Year.
Yeah.
So last but not least, we already talked about this a little bit before the meeting kicked off. Andy may have not seen this. We all handed out new parks maps, fresh off the press. And it basically is just a refresh of all of our park facilities and write descriptions about our facilities and our parks and fresh pictures, and kind of gives an update. The last one was about 2 years old, and it didn't have like River Parks stuff and pump track and some of the updated day camps and things like that. So it's updated completely. Andy, there's copies for you at Michelle, easily,
I could send them one.
you can send him
I'll,
one.
I'll bring it to you.
Bring him one, and then, of course, there's copies at the rec center, Harmon Center and Annex. So stop by and come see me and I'll give you a whole stash. So any of y'all's want.
And I wanted to get just to save the date, March 23rd is International Art and Kite Festival, so it's a couple months away yet, but just save the date on. Perfect.
Thank you, Kimberly. And with that, any questions, please?
Comment, if I may.
Please.
So if any of y'all, seen the actual Cullinan Park, I would encourage y'all to go out there because I've seen the transformation and I was just out there just literally last week. Beautiful. It was just stunning, but at first I thought this can't be the same park, especially going down deep with additional parking. That area was transformed. It's unbelievable. I just couldn't believe it. It was really good. I mean, and then of course the dog park's been really nice, really refreshed. So kudos to your team. That was just awesome. So just want to say that.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
What's the hog tracking protocol?
Yeah, good question. So, thinking outside the box and kind of being kind of trailblazers. A couple of years ago, we started having a lot of hogs tearing up as we were parked, the festival site,
Yeah.
Memorial Park. It was really bad a couple of years ago. Maybe the acorn count was low, I don't know. But around wintertime, they seem to get tired of eating acorns or something, and they start rooting up the grass, and it just causes a mess. And we've gotten a mini skid steer since then to kind of help on tracks, to kind of help fix it better than our tractor could, but it's still annoyance. So we got with animal control, and Jorge and Matt and me were like, we want to help. We want to do something about this. So maybe about 2.5 years ago, we got a couple of cameras, game cameras. I got one from my house and we bought one more. And then we set up some hog fencing. Animal control certainly was trapping hogs, but we wanted to up it a little bit more in the parks, slow this damage down. It was just really killing us. So Jorge set out, built a pin trap. We got a drop gate that's remote controlled that we can see on our phone. So we don't trap the wrong animal or don't trap anything at all. And really started cell phone app, watching this camera. And in the summertime, it's not a problem, but in the rainy season, wintertime, they come back. So we rebait traps and we trap hogs using a remote control drop gate. And then we call animal control after the one is caught, and police will come out and deal with the hog. They won't let me do it, I've asked. And they will call animal control, and animal control typically, after police do their thing, animal control does their thing. And we've been able to get rid of probably about 20+ hogs to date. That's supplemental to animal control's efforts.
Oh, that's great.
So this is just the thinking outside the box, parks being annoyed that we trailblazed and figured out how to help.
That's cool.
So there's no hunting allowed in parks. There is not. I think a long time ago, maybe some officers did it, but it's not allowed. And if it is allowed, officers I don't know if they want it. Jason Brandt's trying to figure out something. Our parks police officer is trying to figure something out, but it hasn't gotten really anywhere. So we figured that trapping was the safest and best way for us to help, or at least feel better about doing our part.
Very cool. Yeah. Bye, Jazz.
Kelly?
Little bit of an off-topic random question. At 90 and the Beltway, there's construction going on where the railroad track kind of goes. I don't know if they're expanding
99.
lanes. Pardon?
90 and 99, is that what you?
Right, right. So it's on 90, they're building some lanes kind of near the railroad track. On the other side, on the residential side, they have tagged a number of large old oak trees. And I don't know if they're tagged because they're gonna expand and over there and get rid of the trees, but I'm wondering, can the city get them and put them someplace else? I mean, that's a lot of nice trees that could be up for grabs.
I
guess
haven't
is what
seen
I'm
the
saying.
tags. Kimberly, Michelle, do y'all know anything
I haven't
about?
seen them, I'm assuming that's what they're meant for, but that's an engineering's project, they're working with Tech Dot on that. So I'm not quite sure.
I'm not quite sure.
Check into.
I know that in my experience, moving trees gets very,
Hideously
very expensive. If they're about 4.5 inch, 5 inch caliper, we've been able to successfully move some with the large tree spade. Still not inexpensive, But when they start getting over that size, that caliper size,
Right,
it takes a special company, usually, and it takes a lot of hand work and tractor work, and then rolling on airbags to a new location that's typically pretty close by. So I'm not sure that we can do it. I'd have to look into that a little bit more and then
Well-
see exactly why the trees are being tagged too.
right. So I have the feeling that the road's just gonna expand there, is what it looks like. The one thing that might be in our favor is that it's a cliff, more or less. That is, it's not like you're going into a flat area. The trees are on the edge of the cliff of the roadway. So it's possible it'll be easier to get to. I don't know. But I know Rice University does a lot of moving their trees around, the big old trees. So I don't know if they've got equipment or if they have.
I might be also
answers.
outside the jurisdiction. To be, you might, is it on the north side or the south side you're referring to? Oh,
It's-
90.
On the southwest side.
Southwest.
So it's
Environmental
on-
design out of Conroe does the majority of large tree moving.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hardly anybody can do that in-house. Environmental design does a majority that I'm aware of large tree moving. They move trees for A&M.
We
They did the 9/11 project
It was a
trees.
heck of a process.
Yeah.
Did it work? Did it?
Sort of.
Okay.
I mean, yes,
It just seems like they're worth saving if we can.
agree.
I mean, they're so
Okay.
expensive and they're so valuable and good grief to go in and to one of our sites and put in a bunch of, I mean, let's say
Yeah.
like Imperial Cemetery. If you could ring that with old oak trees, wow.
The largest trees I've been able to move is the 64 trees along the Reservoir Park sidewalks that I did about 8 years ago. They were, I think they were about 6-inch caliper, and we used the 90-inch machine. That's machine moving. The line larger than that is the
Oh, this is,
environmental design, cutting out to the drip line, shaving under airbags, or picking up on a truck and doing wide loads, just another location. I've seen PowerPoints on it, but I would have no idea how to do it. And I know the cost is really, really high up there. So again, in my experience, I've just been able to spade trees. And we did the cypress trees, the bald cypress trees between the connector road between Memorial and Raz River Park. They were a bit on the larger side, but we went ahead and did it anyways. And I've lost about 10 of them, but about 50 have survived.
Oh,
So,
wow.
the larger you get, but the oaks that I did at Raz River Park that were 6 inches and smaller, most of them were smaller diameter at breast height, DBH. I didn't lose a one, but live oaks are a lot harder trees. So it depends on the hardiness and it really depends on the size. When you start getting above that 6 inch, again, like I said, it's gonna be a special company. That's all they do is move trees, and it's not by machine. It's mostly by handwork and things
well,
like
and you all said it was TxDOT that was doing
It's
the
TechDOT
project.
that's doing it, and if I remember correctly, it's a drainage project. To improve drainage right there, and you know, it dips really low.
Right.
But there may be some lane expansion, I'm just not.
Well, then maybe
aware.
they're not moving the trees. Maybe the trees are just tagged to be like,
Left.
right, just be like, be careful, don't
Yeah.
touch these. I don't
that.
know.
The thing is, we just don't know why they're tagged, but I will
Right.
say, me and Fong Lin have done projects where we've tagged trees at Cullinan, and we certainly didn't remove them. We were just identifying
Right.
what's what.
Well, that would be
So-
good. Okay. No, I was just
So,
curious.
I wish
what
I had
was
more
happening.
information for you, but I don't. Any other questions?
Just really quick, the bridge that is over by the conference center on Austin Parkway, there's the bridge there. I'm not sure if that's City of Sugar Land or Lid or whatever, but there's a lot of drainage work that's being done there. There are now like paths and the sidewalks kind of terminate, almost like you're gonna build another bridge just for pedestrians. Is that correct? So it
Kimberly?
would go like parallel to the.
I think I know what
to
she's
the
talking about.
vehicular bridge.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe that that's part of the trail project
Okay.
that's happening.
The First Colony Trail.
First Colony Trail. project.
Yeah, it's just, it was interesting, 'cause in my neighborhood and passing by, and several folks have been
Yeah.
asking me about it, I'm like,
I've seen
it
it too.
appears like it will be a bridge, because I don't think it just terminate into the ditch.
Right, yeah.
Right now, it's just, there's
Abutment with that pedestrian bridge, if I'm not mistaken, for the First
So it
Colony
won't
Trail
be
project.
that the current situation is where the vehicular bridge, it has a pedestrian area too, but it's very narrow
Right,
and a little treacherous. If
Yeah.
you're like those kiddos, I'm like, careful. please
Yeah,
be careful.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
There are quite a few bridges as part of that project. One of the exciting bridges is the one that's adjacent to the ski park that was burned down, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago, that's being built again and will connect multiple neighborhoods back to
Yeah.
how they were connected before. So it's exciting stuff.
Yep. Right. Yeah, if it's anything like the Cullinan Park 2 bridges we put in, we had to do the abutments first, and then we the bridges were made off-site and then they were shipped to it and then landed on the abutments. So probably something similar to that. Cool.
Any other questions, last comments? All right,
We are going to work very hard before the freeze to shut parks down and minor inconvenience to people, but the parks won't be closed, just some of the facilities will be because we're trying to get ahead of this freeze and not have a bunch of pipes breaking.
Yeah.
Fixing a bunch of pipes instead of beautifying our parks, so.
shut your water off, drain it, protect your pipes. All right, with that said, can I think I'll get a motion to adjourn?
I make a
Joan?
motion to adjourn.
I get a second?
I'll second.
Kelly, thank you so much. All right, with that said, we are adjourned.
Good seeing everybody.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Hey, Joe,
Yes, sir.
which one is your house? Is your house, the third house on
The house in it. It's the second house on the left.
the second house on the left, on the Bayou side?
Pardon me?
The Bayou side, right?
On the creek side, yes.
The second house from the very last one, right? Okay, I thought it was,
Water tower, now you're.